This is David Marler, UFO researcher, and you're listening to That UFO Podcast.
Did you know that podcast advertising is way more effective than display advertising, with 67% of listeners remembering brands and 63% making a purchase after hearing them? Whether you want to diversify your ad spend, add a new marketing stream, or test out podcast ads, Zencastr's creator network makes it easy for brands to connect with podcasters. Zencastr's mission is to make podcast advertisements as easy and accessible to business owners as Google or Facebook. Host-read ads like this are the most effective form of podcast advertising. Zencastr works with podcasters to help create unique to them ad spots that create brand awareness and conversion. Zencastr's creator network is the perfect place for you to get into podcast ads and sponsor your favourite creators like me. I've worked with Zencastr now for some time, and they truly put the content creators and the listeners at the heart of what they do. As a huge fan of podcasts myself, and I really mean that, I love podcasts, I often buy products or services that I find useful to me based on those pods that I'm listening to. It supports them, and there's usually a good discount to go along with it. So if you're interested in sponsoring this show or another podcast with adverts for your business, go to zen.ai/that UFO pod 1, that's the number 1, or click the link in the description and fill out the contact information so Zencastr can help you bring your business story to life. Hi everyone, and welcome back to That UFO Podcast. My name is Andy, and it's the first time I've hit the record button in 2023. I've enjoyed a bit of a week and a half break as such, and I put break in quotation marks, as you'll know listening to the podcast. I've got a young family, lots of young children, so it was a busy time for me. Got lots done and had some good family time as well. But back to the grind from today. So really excited to be hitting the record button and actually speaking into a microphone again. Interviews and guests I'm going to get to very shortly, and what you can expect this coming January. I just want to say that a huge thank you to everyone who listened in 2022, and also thanks to those who supported via Apple Premium, Spotify. You can search That UFO Podcast Premium on Spotify. If you're signed up to the YouTube channel with a membership, or if you're signed up through Patreon, you get early ad-free access, bonus episodes, all that good stuff, and you get to support the podcast as well. You get to support me directly. Thank you so much. So if you do enjoy what you hear, then for the new year, why not consider a subscription for the podcast for less than the price of a cheap and nasty coffee for a cheap and nasty podcast. Joke inserted here. Thank you again though, everyone who listened, very much appreciated. But on to 2023. One more request though for 2023. Can you, if you're on Apple, do me a favour and leave a 5-star review for the podcast, and make sure you're following the podcast on Apple as well. And if you listen on Spotify, leave a 5-star review on Spotify and make sure you've hit the follow button as well for the latest episodes, because they've got a weird algorithm and all that stuff as well. It would be very much appreciated. On to the coming year. Listen, guests are aplenty and lined up already. I've got guests booked through February and March, and already some looking to potentially come on in April. I just can't confirm yet until I've got definite dates and names. You'll know what it's like. I can literally be sitting, as I was in December, waiting on a guest to come on, and they were double booked. And that stuff happens. Life gets in the way. So without further ado, I've said that a few times and it sounds very French, doesn't it? I think it is French. By the by, I've got Paul Sinclair finally coming on the podcast, UK-based researcher, investigator and author of the popular Truth Proof series. He's on with me. I'm recording this on the 3rd of January. He's going to be on with me on the 4th of January, and I'll get that one out for folks to listen to on the early access ahead of next week's release. Really popular guest suggestion, as I've mentioned before. Whenever I put out to people to say, who would you like to see on the podcast, Paul Sinclair's name comes up so often. So if you aren't familiar with Paul Sinclair, check out his YouTube channel, check out his Facebook page. There is where he is most active. His Truth Proof series is incredibly popular and it is global. It's a global book, so make sure you've checked it out as well. And send over any questions. Unless I get them through straight away tonight, folks, the 3rd of January, they probably won't make it into the show tomorrow. I'm recording it in midday, so send over as quickly as you can, but I've got quite a few from back in December anyway. And also, any suggestions for guests that you want to hear on the podcast in 2023, then, and the more obscure the better. The obvious ones, Chris Mellon, Jeremy Corbell, Tom DeLong, all those folks that I've reached out to and will try and get on this year. of course, send those over. But anyone who you think maybe is a bit lesser known and deserves to have their voice heard, please get in touch. Even if you've done it before and I've got back to you or haven't, let me know. So UFOUAPAM@gmail.com. That email address is, of course, in the description. Next up after that, a very popular guest, as he is on any channel he appears, Christopher Plain. Chris Plain, the chief or head science writer from The Debrief, is with me to look ahead at some of the stories that could make the headlines in 2023. Chris is one of those guys, if you follow him on Twitter or have any chats with him, he gets wind of things that are coming up before they actually hit the feeds. And if you're careful and you read between the lines, he knows what's coming up. So new technologies, new science, and he's never afraid to speculate. Chris is a popular guest and he is always worth your time. I'm really looking forward to speaking to Chris as well. And he's quite funny. I don't want to tell him that when I speak to him, but he is quite funny. So he's really good to talk to. Loves his UFO stuff, loves his sci-fi, just like many of you will. So get your questions over early to email to UFOUAPAM@gmail.com for Chris Plain from The Debrief. Look forward to that one. I'm going to be completely honest and admit that I do love a bit of cool technology, but not all the best tech is classified. So when BlendJet got in touch about their new BlendJet 2.0, I was very excited to try it out, especially as one of those protein shake people that many folks hate. Just shaking never has the same results as a blender does, let's be fair. BlendJet 2 is portable, so you can blend up a smoothie at work, a protein shake at the gym, or even a margarita on the beach. It's small enough to fit in a cup holder, but powerful enough to blast through tough ingredients like ice and frozen fruit with ease. BlendJet 2 is whisper quiet, so you can make your morning smoothie without waking up the whole house, a big one for me folks, and it lasts for 15 or more blends and recharges quickly via USB-C. Best of all, BlendJet 2 cleans itself. Just blend with water, a drop of soap, and you're good to go. With over 30 colours available, there is something for everyone. Personally, I'm a huge fan of the carbon fibre. What are you waiting for? Go to blendjet.com and grab yours today, and be sure to use the promo code THATUFO12 to get 12% off your order and free 2-day shipping. No other portable blender on the market comes close to the quality, power and innovation of the BlendJet 2. They guarantee you'll love it or your money back. Blend anytime, anywhere with the BlendJet 2 portable blender. Go to blendjet.com and use the code THATUFO12 to get 12% off, remember folks, and that free 2-day shipping. Shop today and get the best deal ever. Next up after Chris Plain is one I'm quite excited, and this is one of those names that a few people have mentioned in the past, towards the end of last year. So I'm excited to welcome Steve Aspen on to discuss his new book, Out of Time, the Intergenerational Abduction Program Explored. It is what it says on the tin. It is a show about alien abductions. Steve has decades of research and experiences of his own to draw on, as well as many relationships he's forged with investigators over the years. This is one I'm really looking forward to taking a close look at alien abductions from someone who's really done the research and done the work. This will have something for everyone, because if you've checked out Steve's book Out of Time, you'll know that it has enough for people with a deep interest in the UFO topic and alien abductions particularly, but for those who are far less well read or versed in alien abductions themselves, there's a nice introduction to it as well, and then takes you those steps further. So please check out the book in advance, and if not, listen to that interview if and when it comes out. It is going to come out with Steve. Get your questions over. If you've got any questions at all on the UFO subject for Steve, particularly as pertains to the alien abduction phenomena, get them over via email or via DM. Email is preferred as I whisper into the mic, because I definitely keep those. I can see those handily. Looking forward to that. Talking some testimony, talking speculation, talking evidence. Steve Aspen, check out his book Out of Time, the Intergenerational Abduction Program Explored. Hopefully, at some point this month, rescheduled from last month, David Paulides was booked to come on, but he was double booked, so our interview got pushed back. His documentary, The Missing 411, The UFO Connection, got rave reviews when it was released in mid-December 2022. If you've not checked that out, please do. I was a latecomer to David Paulides' work on The Missing 411. I think you'll especially Missing 411 The Hunters, as it goes on, if you've seen that previous documentary, it starts to verge into potential UFO territory, and he picks up that mantle and runs with it in the UFO Connection. Really good reviews, really well produced, beautifully shot. I like to say that, especially when something has the kind of craft put into it for a documentary. So I look forward to welcoming David to talk about the UFO Connection as well. But thanks to everyone who sent me over your thoughts on that. On the back of that, Dan will be joining me to do a review of Missing 411, the UFO Connection. We've watched that already. We'll be watching it again, and we've got our notes already prepared. So any thoughts, I know some people have shared those already, you can again send those over via any platform. What did you think of Missing 411, the UFO Connection? Dan and I will discuss, and if you've got any questions for us, feel free to throw those in there as well. We'll also be recording a breakdown looking ahead to the year 2023. What are you looking forward to? 2023 will potentially have us see some congressional hearings. That's something we've been hearing banged on about for a little while. But Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp were just on Theory of Everything podcast with Kurt Jaimungo. I was lucky to be on there for a few minutes saying hello to Kurt and other guests in a kind of bonanza type show, so check that out. But Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp both joined Kurt, and Jeremy Corbell, as he likes to do, hinted at some big things coming this January. Listen, of course, we've heard that before from numerous people. Everyone was telling us that the report was coming out at the end of the year. It was coming out each day. It was coming out tomorrow, and it didn't arrive, But let's just see what happens in January. Jeremy Corbell certainly has his sources. He's always worth listening to, and I don't think he'd be saying that without something to back it up. So, yeah, 2023 could be a big year. Will we get more photos? Will we get more video released or leaked? Will we get Lou Elizondo's long-awaited book? That may not even come out until next year or the year after, who knows, but let's wait and see. And yeah, are we going to get some of that testimony, probably in a classified setting from whistleblowers? Who knows, but whatever happens, I'll be there reporting. Dan will be joining me as and when on breakdowns and such, and we'll be tearing apart those news, those stories, and I'll be getting on the best possible guests, and I really want you to have a say in that. What guests do you want to see on this coming year in 2023? And I'll do my best to get in touch with them as well. Honestly, folks, there's so many people I do get in touch with, and for whatever reason, they can't come on for several months. They're working on a project, or some folks are just really hard to even get a reply back from. But I do my very, very best to get the best people on and have those conversations. And again, folks, thank you for any of you who have listened to this, listened to me, listen to the podcast, or watch via YouTube. It's very much appreciated. Don't know why you do it, but some of you tell me you enjoy it. So again, look forward to the year coming 2023. The next interview released will be Paul Sinclair and his Truth Proof series. We'll be discussing the UK and further afield, UFO conversations, cryptids, and more. Then after that, maybe just after, maybe just before, who knows, Dan's out in Mexico, we'll get that review of the Missing 411, the UFO Connection, recorded as well. Remember, folks, a final me begging on my knees: leave a 5-star review on Apple, leave a 5-star review on Spotify, on any platform, but those two really do make a big difference, and make sure you're liking and following the podcast as well. Look forward to bringing you lots more content this year, folks. Keep looking up, you never know what you might see. That is all for this week's show. Thank you very much for listening. Please remember to leave the podcast a review on your chosen platform. You can like, retweet and subscribe. That would all be very much appreciated. The shows are being uploaded onto YouTube as we speak more and more. You can sign up at patreon.com/That UFO podcast to access the shows ad-free as well. Please get in touch on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, That UFO podcast. Of course, on Twitter, it's at UFO UAPAM. And again, folks, as always, keep looking up. You never know what you might see.
It wasn't a tic-tac and not quite a saucer, more like a hubcap designed by Chaucer, a little baroque and quite steampunk, like Alice was playing bass for the Parliament of Folk. The little fucker hovered right outside of my window, and when I shoved out the screen, he made it an issue. I don't think he expected me to see his ass, but I'd had some champagne and smoked a little grass. Meditative gamma state full on meta. Can't imagine how it could have been any better. I got to the top of the stairs and there he was. Like, you awake? I was about to abduct you, cuz. I jumped back and nearly kissed myself, and I climbed out the window after the elf, and I woke up in my bed and there was something on my head and everything was weird and everything was red. And I called out to my boys. They thought this was noise. They thought it was a dream. They thought it was my toys. They thought it was my problems and they think I should seek therapy. And I don't know what it is because it doesn't really scare me. If you really want to know who I think they be, I think it's you and me and us and we and him and her and that and she and that thing over there and what's that, Jake? But for being serious, open your mind, consider your heart, consider time, consider your space, consider your lies, consider your life, consider your eyes.